a CT, and it is 12:42 uh, p.m. Eastern time. I just, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about something that was on my mind ever since. Um, I mean, the one thing I'll definitely do is keep, just make sure I have a good title for it. So I didn't know what to call it right now. I didn't know what to name it. So, eventually I will, right after I can figure something out really good. So, anyways, um, right now I'm here to talk about a game school that I went to. Um, I haven't been there in a long time. So, I mean, one thing like I'm just gonna say that it's a game school somewhere in Florida. Okay, so one thing for sure that you guys could probably, whoever's watching this, could probably like figure out what kind of school it was. I mean, what it is, anyways. Um, so yeah, I began going to this game school like somewhere around 2009, 2010. Um, and what happened was that I mean things like I went to the orientation. I bought a laptop that they had recommended, which was part of the whole thing. In order to get in and all that, it was you know really expensive. Um, this thing happened, and like it was that when I went to the orientation and everything, um, they made these promises and stuff like that. They were saying things like, well, they would get you tutoring and stuff and everything, whatever it is you need, they'll get it for you. You don't have to get somebody on the outside, things like that. And this orientation was really well done, okay? And questions were asked, they were answered, everything, right? We took a tour around, um, and yeah. So, anyways, I took all of this thing to heart. Whatever it is to in order to succeed and all of that. Um, now for me, sorry. Now for me, like when I was going there, um, like I got everything that I needed, like the programs, the stuff. Of course, I had to go to a different school to get those programs, and then install it in my laptop and everything, and all of that, right? So then that was all good. So like at the beginning of the term and all that, I mean, yeah, it was kind of like it was kind of weird because it was like they made you had like um homework to do to try to finish this stuff off. I mean, it's all natural. I mean, especially you have to do it like all day and all night in a way, right? So yeah, in most cases, it was kind of like you were losing sleep. Um, and you could barely get time for anything. So for me, like that's exactly what I was doing, right? I mean, I didn't really start off the like the 3DF class, like 3D Foundations. I didn't really start that off right away. I started out like afterwards, and well, I'm gonna like go run right ahead and like not talk about the like prerequisites or the psychology class or anything like that, you know, that I took over there. So I'm just gonna go right down to like the stuff about about gaming and all that, and what happened around those times. Okay, so anyways, when I took those classes, things were really good at the beginning. You know, I always like sat in the front of the classroom. Um, what else did I do? I always like paid attention. Like they had like podcasts, but like for me, I well I was video recording the lectures and stuff like that, even though they had the podcast, because there were things like they would do, like students would ask them a question like during the break time and all that, that they would kind of like show them how to do it. So for me, like like when it comes to programs like Maya and ZBrush and what have you, like those are programs, like there's not one way to do something. And for me, like again, like I have epilepsy, and like it was like one of those schools that I met up with a lot of dyslexic people and whatever. So for me, like I'm a bit of a slow learner, but I'm getting there, and yeah, so I know like those things, permission to do that and stuff like that. So I was good with them. Um, and like afterwards, like after those classes, you go to lab and you just do the work. So it was kind of like 4 hours of lecture, 4 hours of lab, and and then it's kind of like you had like the other 8 hours or something like that throughout the day or the night or whatever. And yeah, so that's what it was like over there. Um, and each of these classes was for like a month, each month roughly. So it was kind of like accelerated and all that stuff, but um, for me, yeah, that it was kind of like it was a little hectic, but I tried the best I could over there. They like what else? I mean, like for me, like there were things that I was doing over there, like creating like some kind of environment. Not like all that detailed or whatever, but a good enough like is it like I was if I was doing like a living room, right? And then like let's say that they had like a Buddha statue over there, right? So I'm going on with this thing and this scene, and like I would make it look convincing that that is a Buddha statue from a scene right there, right? I'm not, yeah. So giving out enough space, giving out all this stuff, so yeah, like there were like things that we had to do, like in the three, like when you're beginning the 3D, you know, like a 3DF class, that one was about that one was about teaching you the basics, and what you have to do. So we were just basically like blocking out a modeled up character, right? Um, and then like we could choose our own thing. We had to rig it. You know, rigging is basically like the skeletal form of the of that whole thing. So that's how you could do that in order for to animate the character and stuff. So we had to like set up. So we had to set something like that up in order to do the work, right? In order to pass the class and stuff. It wasn't hard, but I mean sometimes in the long run you get that you kind of get that like those problems and stuff, which they would tell you had to save often. Every little thing, save often because you don't want to run into those problems and stuff. If you do run into an issue that you know you're not supposed to be seeing, you can always go back to the old file. So yeah, I mean those are like those things where it was good advice and all of that and everything. And yeah, um so anyway, what we did was that we we blocked we made the model. It was blocked up. We rigged them, and the thing is, we had to create it like a story. Like a little scene or something, like as if he was like throwing a ball or something. To do something like that. Um, and yeah, those things worked out really good. It was, so yeah, it was really, really good to work up on stuff like that to find out the basics of it, and then we could have when we passed that class, we went into other things, going on to like a little bit of a environment design, things about renaming stuff, doing all of that, so that way things won't get messed up, um, you know, and everything was right there. It wasn't like um, it wasn't like hectic stuff. You know what I mean? But at the end of like going at the end of it, that was pretty hectic. Because they try to like make things like difficult and stuff. So um, yeah, for me, like I remember hearing like a professional went to that school. It was I think his name was like Phil something or whatever. He worked up on the he was doing work at with the what was that Avatar movie? That movie with the blue skinned people. Yeah, so I remember him like hearing about him coming in. I never met the guy. I never saw him, but when that guy came about, he just like blew people off and all that, and it was kind of like, okay, well, a teacher, that like he was like one of the coolest guys, like even the 3D Foundations dude. Yeah, he was. Yeah, those two guys were really cool with stuff and all that, you know. Um, so he had like those two like had a falling out. I mean, he hurt like a bunch of students' feelings and everything, and he was like so aggressive and all that crap, telling these guys, off for no reason at all, and like because it wasn't like his type of thing, like like he's because this guy is like fully experienced, but the thing is he just couldn't like get it, because like this is a school, this is a university, so you're just like beginning stuff, this is like the second class out of the thing and all that. But my friends told me this about him, and it was brutal. It was brutal about the things that I heard he was doing and what he said and all that crap. And it was cool that that this other guy, this teacher came in, and you know and he had and that was it. So right after that, he left. Like that month, when that month was over, he left. So it was all like, okay, well, whatever, right? So I mean, uh, I took those. I took I took the class that I had the argument with, and he was cool. Like he was so understanding. I talked to him about certain stuff like right after. Um, so yeah. Uh, and then I did like a pretty impressive work. But even he had like a student that was in the class, that he kept making like a big deal, a big fuss over all this thing about what he does and stuff like that. Like he said that he was like really smart, uh, and all that crap. He said he worked at NASA, and but the thing is, he was a janitor over there. Okay, so I don't know, but this dude, he got into like arguments and all this crap, and it's kind of like what you had to do. I mean, every when I went there, every student that had classes with him, like literally made fun of him, and I don't know what to say about it, but like I wasn't even his friend at all. Okay, I wasn't. I was telling my friends about him, about this one student, and then somehow he was able to catch up with those guys. I was kind of like being left behind a little bit, but I tried to like catching up. Um, One thing I wanted to do was go at my own pace, right? But I didn't get to do that. What I did was like I consulted my parents about like everything and stuff. So like so they kind of like made like a big deal about certain things, like with taking break, and you have to do like this fast bus shit, and um it was like one ridiculous crap after the other. And I think like if maybe if maybe like if I would have gone to do this thing my own pace and stuff, like taking breaks or something or whatever, I would have I would have done a lot better. But I don't know, like with all this crap that was going on with all the work, and barely getting any sleep. Um, I mean, I didn't really sleep, and like the thing is with this school is that you get one, like it's kind of like, okay, the first day of that class you get sleep, and then the last day of that class you get sleep, right? And then you go into another class. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you face this thing within the whole month, and you got like two different things to do, which is like one is a prerequisite, the other one is like what it is you're majoring in, and yeah, but yeah, things were like starting to get like overwhelming, um, a little bit. But I mean, some of the lab instructors, they were really good. They were really cool and stuff. But I don't know, like I don't know what was going on, like later on in those terms and stuff, like But you have no idea how many times I asked for tutoring, and for to help me out understand this thing a lot better. Maybe there's something that uh maybe there's something that the podcast was not really telling me or something, or because like it was like old podcasts that they did like a few years back. I mean, not a few, but a couple years back. So it wasn't like up to date or anything, and that's why I had to do the recording, the video recordings, because to see where you go to get from point A to point B, and yeah, so that was it. The art classes that I took, like with drawing and stuff, those were good, you know. Um, but yeah, like those are really really good classes and stuff. The thing is that they had something that was called pre-pro. Now, I wasn't really familiar with that sort of thing though, like because I couldn't like get understand what was pre-pro. So I mean, that kind of had me like fail the class and stuff, and like I had to take it over. It wasn't like really a big deal or anything like that to me, you know. But I wanted to make sure I get as much done, because like I couldn't really like focus on certain things, and you know this like because again like the work and all that was like felt pretty overwhelming uh and all of that. So what we had to do was like try to figure something out and whatever. So I mean, it, so eventually like I started to pass it, and and yep, I started to pass the class and all of that because I started to understand things. Because nobody didn't really tell me when I asked. Only when I failed the class the first time. That was it. Nobody didn't tell me anything, and that too. That see, there was another problem. Um, is with the students around there. I'm gonna like get to that somewhere at the end and all that. But I just want to get done with whatever it is I face with the academics in that major that I was in and all of that. So I mean, all of that was good. Um, but things eventually like went down, like downhill from there, and it was like I was seeing like ridiculous shit and all this crap and whatever. So let's see. So I made some friends, and everything, and like I failed class the first time. There were times though, not all the time. Um, and then like I passed it the second time, and like so in most cases I pat myself over the back for that, because I didn't have to take a class like like I don't know, it was the same class. I didn't have to take that like 5, 6 times or anything. So that was good. That was good on my part. Um, So yeah, I mean, what? So let's see. I I did those, so things were like really good. And then like I was showing my creativity, things like I thought about things, all things going around that nature and stuff. I took an animation class, like, people that worked at Disney and stuff, doing artwork, doing animation, figuring out how to do that stuff with the animation with the paper. Uh, and there are times like there's like this sort of light table, right? And it had like this thing on the bottom with like some kind of holster on the bottom with these pegs for the holes on those paper. And I'll tell you something, those are like really good paper, right? And you learn how to like animate, like for the time being and stuff. And then you have like, so you're just like flipping pages, but like what made it cool, like um, you you put your hand on the top of the paper, right? And you're putting like each page between your fingers and stuff, and you're like kind of like fanning your fingers in a way, like back and forth, just to see like does it feel like how that animation is going and stuff. So that was good, right? But even with that thing, like I showed like really impressive artwork in there, like like knowing how much I know about anatomy and stuff. Like I know how to do like draw a good body, like a full body. I know how to do that. And I'll tell you one thing, one of my weakness, right, is the values. That's my weakness right there. I just get a little hesitant with that, like not knowing what to do right there. And I think maybe like color theory is another one of my weakness. So I have to like brush up on that and everything. And I just go to like a lot of comic book conventions and everything, and where it's gonna be. Um, you know, so I just make sure I go to those things, and yeah, it's good. Um, so yeah, I had like some fun over there, but then things started getting like ridiculous. Okay, it started falling downhill from that point, from this point in my days over at that school, which was um, well, I eventually, I mean, I took like this compositing class over there, and they use like this leading program, you know, that they do to do compositing and stuff. So it wasn't like a major of the game of the game art department. It wasn't like a major, so we just like learned a little bit, like the basic stuff, and that was it, right? And even I was showing my creativity with the stuff, okay? And there was this teacher. I mean, he seemed pretty cool, but then like the next thing you know, things started getting ridiculous. Now I think I got screwed over by like a student that looked like he was like on drugs or like he was high or something like that. Like and that's one of those things I wanted to to get out right there. It would that So yeah, so basically my downfall, thought I was gonna pass this class. Now this thing, like, even though I was showing like my creativity and all this crap and whatever, sitting in the front of the class doing the whole nine, right? This this thing, he eventually started to come right at this teacher and stuff. Eventually started to call up on me, and everything. Okay. Now here's just some interesting things. So I'm telling this teacher about this student, and he started come, and then eventually, I don't know what the hell, he started coming at me. Okay, talking to me about, like, oh, like what I did and did this and that. So he was basically like accusing me, of wrongdoing, plagiarism and stuff like that. And from honestly, I was baffled. Okay, I was so baffled by this whole thing. What happened? So he started to question me and all that crap. He started to say, well, you know, started turning the whole damn thing against me, and started coming right at me, telling me this crap, so and so, and whatever. And I didn't even know what to tell him. I honestly, I don't know what to tell him, because because, like I was talking about this one student, but it was kind of like he took the sides. Like, he didn't like do anything to, like, to call, like, kind of like talk to the student or anything like that. He started coming right at me, and like, saying that, okay, well, I took the student's work, I was doing this and that or whatever, and like, these things didn't like make any sense, because the thing is, we're all doing the same work, and if and we're all learning this crap for the first time and all this crap, right? So, you know, I didn't come in with, like, with my laptop or anything like that. I But he had this stuff in the he had this stuff in his laptop, because they had, like, the school had their own servers and everything. So when you turn in your work, yeah, so, like, when you turn in your own work and stuff, uh, that's it. Like, you gotta turn it in the server so lab instructors can see it, um, as well as this, as well as the instructor himself. Okay, so I was, like, really, really confused right here. Okay, so I'm just asking, like, this isn't really about me. This is about this other student, and I didn't know what to say. Like, this dude, he was, like, literally asking me all these questions. It wasn't about that other student, it was about me and everything. And, this is something like I was not even expecting. And Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I tried like so many times just to get into contact with him, all that stuff, and whatever. So like this this teacher, this instructor, he's like he kind of like stabbed me in the back with all this crap. I don't know why. Even to this day, like I've been trying to like figure that crap out. You know, um, and I'm like, look, this is just weird. Okay, so yeah, like because I was like really concerned and whatever about about me turning in work and me and like me not and everything because I like what I was seeing what I came to that instructor about was a student like taking the work himself and like I was like right there um and basically like I was just basically doing the work that I know. Like, it was like like coloring of like Chun Li, uh, and from Street Fighter, and yeah. So like whatever it is I turned in, I knew like there was stuff that was missing. Like I started noticing that my files were missing, but I made a copy of like whatever files I had, and then I did, and whatever it is I turned in. So that's what I came to the my compositing instructor about, and yeah, so like it was like oh I didn't do this or that or whatever like I didn't turn this thing in and shit like that and I took someone else's work, claimed it as my own, uh, everything. And that shit turned out to be one hell of a disaster. Now, this is something that I did not think that was ever going to happen when I went in this thing. All right. So keep in mind, like ever since I was a kid, I had developed this sort of liking. Even though I was drawing and stuff, I developed this sort of like, liking to make this sort of thing like my dream job, some like basically my passion, my um, everything that I wanted to do because that's all I could like think about, is talk about these things, look up what's going on, uh, being up to date with this stuff. But ever since I was at this school, I wasn't really that much up to date because I couldn't like pay much attention to the other stuff. So I couldn't do any of that. My brother, on the other hand, like he was able to because he wasn't like, doing this stuff. Like he wasn't doing like the 3D stuff like I was doing for gaming. And yeah, so like anyways, they were like saying things like, okay, well, think about what you've done, this and that, um, whatever, right? They were telling me those type of that type of crap. I was all like, there's nothing to think about. I didn't even do anything wrong. I was doing the work, and you saw me doing the work. You saw me doing the work in the class. You saw me like, you know, um, asking questions. You saw me, you know, paying attention and all that crap. You saw me recording the lecture, right? And you know that those your podcasts are not like updated and stuff like that where it should be of what you guys are teaching us. So like, what's your thing about it? And he didn't bother answering me. He just wanted to know if I actually took this other student's work and all that crap. You don't know how many times I said no, I didn't. You have no idea how many times I said that. I kept saying no, and that was the truth, that I didn't take this other student's work. And all like he was telling me like, oh, I seem like such a really nice guy and stuff. It seems like I could think, but don't lie about this. I'm like, I'm not lying, you know. And it wasn't like really convincing to him, like, because I don't know, I don't know what to tell. I don't even know what to say when it comes to something like that, to be honest. Like if you're actually doing the work and something goes missing, and you know, it's like you're trying to defend yourself here. This is the thing about it. Like I didn't know what the hell to think about. All I did was all I wanted to do was just do the work, you know, as as whatever class I had, and that was it. That was it. It was just simple shit right there. I was the one paying attention. I wasn't talking to no other student in the class, and he knows that, right? And like he was all like huffing and puffing, and um, when I kept telling him no, I didn't. That was you, you know, because he found like, oh, I was being like dishonest and whatever, but like that's not my style though. Like I don't roll that way, and I just tell a lot of people this sort of thing. I don't know how else I could convince anybody. I mean, I know like they don't know me that well or anything, but it's like you're at a certain age in your life and everything. You're getting this opportunity to do whatever it is you like, whatever it is what you please, and you have the support out of your family. It's all of that, right? All that it entails, all that implies. I mean, and and the thing is, like, it was like ridiculous, man. It was really ridiculous getting to that whole thing, and like getting screwed over with that shit, and that was even right. What happened to me. So after like he was like done with me or something like that, he was like sending me home and whatever. He said he's gonna contact my parent. He was gonna contact my parents and stuff like that and whatever. So I was like, all right. As soon as I was just baffled about the whole thing. So I mean, yeah. So I was escorted by this security guard, out of the building and whatever, you know. And they don't like plagiarism, which I understand that they don't like none of that. Uh, but in all honesty, I didn't, and I mean, if that was the case, well, yeah. So I get as soon as I got back home. Well, basically, like it was I was living in a condominium complex. So when I got back home over there, um, this I got a phone call from my father, like asking me all these questions, like what's going on, what happened, and everything, and you know, I don't know, like I was telling him like what happened and stuff, and he was like really concerned. He didn't know what to think, so he started sending, he started having my mother come and investigate and stuff like that, see what's going on. Uh, I was like, okay, fine then. So she like booked a flight and all that, and um, started to come, and I started to show her what, like I started to pick her up from the airport. I started to explain the whole damn thing all the way back, going back to the condominium, right? the condo and stuff, and I started to explain everything, like what happened, this and that. Um, and then not only that, but I showed her, right? I showed her the program of what I was doing and what I did, what I learned. Okay. And again, like there's not one way when it comes to those expensive programs like that, right? There's not one way to do something. There's always like different ways that you can do in order to get from point A to point B, from start to finish. You're getting your work done. Always, there's always a way, and people that has worked with programs like that would understand that. Okay. So, anyways, I showed her how to use a program. Um, and that was it. I showed her what my work, what I did. I showed her all of that. And see, here's the thing, though. So my mother came in, and I was kind of like out of the school for like maybe like a day or something. So yeah. So anyways, like I started to I mean, well, sorry, my mother, she wanted to get into contact with these guys. She wanted to talk to these guys, have like a thing and stuff like that, right? Like a conference and whatever, face to face and shit. And and I was all like, okay, that's fine, you know. And and the thing is, like, this when we had this conference, when we got in the day after, right? I mean, we talked about this thing, right? We just say who we wanted in there, what kind of lab instructor we wanted there. We wanted that student there. We wanted all this crap. Okay, so this so when we got there, again, I didn't like bring my laptop with me or anything. Um, I didn't do any of that. So, like they started to introduce themselves, um, to each other and everything, and then we started getting down to business and all that crap over there in this room and stuff. And so yeah, and it started and the teacher started to explain to my mother about the work we were doing, and he was going like really quick and everything like that, right? So he was going like real quick, real fast. And 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 stuff like that. And like it was like one thing like we wanted to like prove, like for me to like go right ahead to prove that I did in fact do the work, right? So I mean the guy who's like the head of the school and whatever, he was there and he was asking me these kind of questions. I mean, okay, look, you don't know me that well, that's fine. I've seen him around. I think he's seen me around, but maybe he can't remember or anything at that time. And then yeah, like started yeah, so it was one thing after the next. You know, he was telling me like he was telling her like all this stuff like what they did, you know, what like what they didn't do and everything and how they could figure this thing out and whatever. Now the thing is we had like a final thing to do at the end of that month, right? We had like this final work to kind of like do everything to put in and in like a creative way with this like this Audi. You know, it was like some Audi scene that was just like driving and stuff. So we had to like do some things and connect the nodes, do all of that, right? So I was at a loss for this thing. Like, you know, one thing I did know is like I learned to render all those work at the end. So I was telling them like, okay, look, I was going through like I was experiencing like a glitch that happened. And the thing is, he said that a glitch can't happen for a whole month. I'm like, yeah, I know a glitch can't happen for a whole month. But my thing was my argument was I learned to render all those works and stuff like that one night. So all that shit, and I resaved and I saved over it and everything, which it did show, right? It did show that that when I say like kind of like when I saved the work, so like when I had the file, that's what showed, and that's what was turned in, and everything, and yeah, I noticed, yeah, when I was doing the work, that final, that the work was it was something was going on, and I don't know if anybody else, like any of the other students, was doing anything, but like it was experiencing that. But the thing is, like the instructor was all like, "Well, I mean, I've done work like like this for a long time now, for quite a few years now, and not once have I ever seen like the numbers looking the same, and like you're doing with nodes and all that, so you like even though you had that scene, like you try to like neaten stuff up, right? You're trying to neaten up your work and not have that like messed up or anything like that. Um, and yeah, I was all like, well, god damn, that is crazy. And I'm like, how do you not like? How do you not see like it's just numbers? Like if you're messing with like a huge saturation shit, I mean, whatever. Like if you like thinking about Photoshop or something, right? I was like thinking stuff. Now, the thing is, we started to explain my situation, right? I have epilepsy, that I'm a spiritual believer, things like that, or whatever. They wanted to find out things about with my mother and whatever, like what she does. She explained all that stuff to them, and like for me, I didn't want to like come out like a disappointment to to myself and my own family and stuff like that. You shame my name and all that crap. I didn't want to do none of that. But these guys made that happen. And that was like some kind of like a shit that I didn't need. Um, and all that crap. So, like, eventually, like, like he started asking me questions and stuff like that. The, and the lab instructor who kind of like helped me out, like, he wasn't there. It was this other lab instructor that didn't. And the thing is, like, the student, um, that we asked for to be there, like, they didn't get him either. And the thing is, this teacher was focusing on his own time to do the work and all this crap, his own the time of his own class or whatever it is. He was basically focused on that, you know. So I don't know. We had like this back and forth shit going on. The head of the the program and stuff was like asking me all these questions and stuff, and like what did I think about this? What I all this crap. So I'm not really sure like um I'm not really sure what it is he was trying to like get at, but I honestly like if I'm doing the work and stuff like that, and I'm thinking like all this crap. I'm not there to like I'm not I don't know. I'm not really there to answer any questions like of something like that I didn't do or something, you know. And yeah, so I mean even like the instructor himself, he kept asking me these questions and stuff. He said these things about to my mother like saying I was doing all this stuff. Was like I was sitting in the front of the classroom. I was paying attention. I wasn't talking to any other student. I was asking questions and stuff like that. I was early. I was on time and for for the lecture. I was doing all this crap. The whole nine. And I'm a perfect. And he said to my mother that I'm a perfect example of an excellent student. Now he said this like straight on, okay, and whatever. But he wanted me to like come out and confess to him, to saying that, okay, well, yeah, I did take this other student's work. And I'm like, look, I've been telling the truth for like for like you know so many years now, like since I became a teenager. I've been telling the truth ever since. So yeah, you know. I don't like to lie or anything, and I'm not even lying. I was never lying in the first place. Um, so yeah, like he started that whole huffing and puffing thing again when I kept denying it, and I'm not gonna like lie to myself, to lie for somebody to like for them to say like, okay, well, if I say that I am plagiarizing and stuff like that, oh, I'm telling the truth. No, I'm not gonna do that. Okay. Um, and this school caused me like a lot of stress, a lot of problems and stuff like that, a lot of health issues that was going on my way and everything. Um, yeah, so it was like a lot of things that didn't like add up or whatever. It just didn't, and it was like some shady shit right there and stuff. And like he entered like this sort of thing that we never like that he doesn't teach the class, that he only like he himself knows. Um, yeah, so he entered in that something, and he's saying like, okay, we have a foolproof system and everything, and I'm like, for some reason I don't believe in that sort of thing. You know, because I've been going on through the years, um, and seeing what has happened. So like, I don't believe that like there's some like foolproof system when it comes to like stuff like this. To catch you like red-handed or something. I don't see that. But yeah, this is the thing. Like this is what he claimed. Um, and I was all like, okay, well, what happened to the students and stuff like that we asked for? Where's the instructor, the lab instructor that we asked for? That the one that basically helped me out. Like when I had questions and concerns or whatever. Because this dude, he's not, he didn't really help me out with anything. He didn't even come, he didn't really come my way. Okay. So yeah. Oh man, it was I don't know, man, guys. It was like it was really stupid. I'll tell you that much. It was some sort of situation that I didn't need to go through anyways. And like this happened, like this was like my downfall with the thing, and whatever, and shit like that, and stuff like that that was going on. And like we got out, like I mean, because he had like a class. The instructor had a class to teach, like I mentioned a couple times already. Um, yeah, so he went to do that, and we left. We went back to the. Me and my mother went back to the condo, but my mother knew that I was telling the truth. Okay, so he picked, he chose a side with me and all this crap, because she saw what was going on. She asked some really interesting questions, though, and these are questions that I know of that I asked. So if I were to ask them these type of questions and stuff like that, they would say that I'm being unprofessional. Okay, and a question would be like, okay, you have your own servers, right? And the thing is, any student, any major, any whatever could log into those servers and pick up the work. They could do those things. They can take the work in any file or whatever, and it's still there. And it's like, well, why don't you take those files out as soon as you get them? And they were just making this sort of thing, like saying, oh well, there are times when a student would, like a student that passed the class would come into the lab, the lab building, and go ahead and like take the work. That like they might want to like look back on their work or something like that. And that was like some fishy shit, because even though if you did do the work and whatever, that's the thing though. Like, you're supposed to still have the files. You're supposed to have a copy of the files. So it's kind of like, why don't you have a copy of the files? And why are you keeping those things in there? Like, if you were like a digital art and design major, you can get into like a computer animation, a game art thing, like files and stuff like that, right? You can get into something like that, and like, yeah, so that was shit that I already knew of, and my mother asked those questions and stuff like that, and I was like, wow. And then like, like when me and my mother went back to the condo and stuff like that, we started talking. We called out my father, telling him what happened, and she was all like telling my father, well, that I wasn't lying at all. Um, that I did do the work and stuff like that. And she fined, and you know, and they didn't want to let me do the work. They were like, like I was like, because I was like that with them. I was like, if you think and whatever, just let me prove it to you right now. Let me prove that I did do the work. And they were all like, well, that's not necessary. So no. Again, it was like, one shit after the other, right? They didn't want me to prove that I did, in fact, do the work. They didn't want me to, and I was all like, damn, man. Well, that puts me at a disadvantage right there, and everything. So I mean, yeah, like, and my mother was like really upset with these guys, as much as I was. She was like really upset. But yeah, she couldn't believe what they were doing, and she was telling my father that the instructor was going like so quick. He was going like so quick, and showing, this and that, like, and catching such a glimpse of it and everything, and whatever. I was like, oh, well, yeah, that's what happened. And my father couldn't believe he couldn't believe that. He he couldn't believe what he was hearing, and whatever. And let me tell you something. Like, I hate it. Okay, I hate it when schools are like that. I hate it um schools like act like they're their own government and whatever. And like, they try to play like a judge, jury, executioner or some shit like that or whatever. I hate that crap. That is something that I don't think like schools should even do. And like I hate it when you as a student can't get any like justice. You know, I hate like again I hate that. And there was no justice whatsoever when it came to that kind of school, anyways. And yeah, so like my father was all like, okay, like let him come home, let him come home, back to New York and all this and stuff. Let this thing so he can get a, can you know just try to like get a peace of mind and whatever, like yeah. And I kept talking about it and stuff like that, like there, so I mean, the school eventually called and they were a little like saying that, okay, well, I have to like skip a month, you know, that they're not buying into any of this, um, that, like to think about what you've done and everything. That, they said the same thing like, that we already know and whatever. And I was so like, oh my God. I'm tired of, I was like, look, I'm tired of having this sort of thing because again, it was like nothing to think about. It was, and yeah, it was so stupid, like what I went through, what I faced that time. Um, and I was like in distraught or whatever, man. Like, it was not even funny. I was baffled. I was like heavy in thought about trying to like go back to what I was thinking. I was like, oh my God. So this is like stuff that thing. And to be honest, I never plagiarized before. I never did nothing like that before. Okay. Every time, every day that I go to school, you know, I put in a lot of hard work. Even though I didn't get the best grades and whatever it is, I made sure I get that education. I made sure that I paid as much attention as possible, trying my best, doing my best, and stuff like that. That's what I. That's what I've done, since growing up. Okay, and what more could someone else ask for, right? What more? You can't ask for more than that. And you know, yeah. So like I showed my father the program. He wanted to see the program, So I showed him a little bit of the work and stuff like that, and he just couldn't believe what the hell was going on with that school, anyways, and how they had these things set up. And we asked a whole bunch of good ass questions, but they just came up with so many goddamn stupid ass excuses and stuff like that to cover their own ass. And sometimes, you say it's like, okay, well, why don't you just get a lawyer to help you out with that stuff, right? You know what? Um, there was no way we could have gotten a lawyer because I, like it was kind of like that school kind of already had like the best lawyers with them or some shit like that, and like yeah, it was like stuff like that was going on. Um, and I just had like a rough time with that shit. That took a whole toll on me. That really like put me down and everything, and I didn't know how to like overcome that shit. The only thing was that what I did when I came back to New York and all that was that I was just practicing some of my 3D modeling stuff. Just trying to get my mind off of things. I was cooped up in my room, um, most of the time and whatever it is, and that was it. So um, I didn't have to pay anything. When I got back, I didn't have to pay. I didn't have to pay for anything. They exempt me from that. Um, yeah, so because like usually like if you fail or pass or something, or if you're late, then you have to pay like if you're late and you fail, you have to pay for like you have to pay like $2,000 out of pocket. That's what you have to do. You had to pay $2,000 out of pocket and stuff, and and so oh shit, my bad. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, so so anyways, yeah, um, so when I came back, so I don't know, like, I came back and this like this teacher started becoming ridiculous and stuff like that, right? Like he was telling this story about this student like at the beginning and stuff. It wasn't really easy to go in that thing, right? Um, but but this teacher like gave me a lot more work to do since I already took the class and everything, which is understandable, right? I understand that, because I already took it, trying to make things a little difficult for me and whatever. That's fine. I don't care, So I was stressing my ass out, with this stuff, and it was all like, okay, well, let's get it on, right? Let's do this. Um, so yeah, and what he so he he had like these other students and stuff that laugh and whatever, and for me, I didn't find it funny at all, because he had his own interpretation of like what the hell happened and everything like that. And I was like, man, I don't know if another student was to go through something like that, I don't think I'd be laughing. I don't think I would be like whether he did, like whether he did the work or not. I don't think I'd be laughing about something like that. Um, I did talk to my friends about what happened, and a couple of my friends and stuff like that, and they were like, "Oh man, they screwed you over big time and whatever." That was like really, a real bitter pill that I faced, in the class, in my days over at that university and stuff. Um, yeah. So they told me like, look, you were early and shit like that for your classes, man. Like they shouldn't even have to charge you anything. It was you know they knew I was at the school. They were there too. So they were telling me all this stuff like how they're like jipping uh how they're like literally jipping me and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my god. And it's not something like I could easily fight. Like even if I wanted to fight them or something, it wasn't even like that. And yeah, but man, I just I don't know. I didn't know what to think about it, to be honest. So, anyways, yeah, like they were telling me, like you're at lecture, you're at lab, early, real early for class and stuff like that. So how are you getting like marked late and stuff? Because like the thing is, here's how it goes, right? If you're like marked late at that school, okay, um, or like maybe if you're like 2 hours, like I mean, sorry, not 2 hours, but if you're like a minute late or something, or like maybe 10 minutes late, for those things, then they will mark you for 2 hours late. That's what they're gonna do, like mark you for 2 hours automatic, like just like that. I mean, sometimes they can be flexible, like maybe for like about a minute or something, right after they call your name or something to make sure that you're in. Uh, but yeah, like they would mark you they would mark you late if you're like maybe like 5-10 minutes, and or even more, anyways. Um, but I mean, there was a lot of shit that was ridiculous. They had all these like grade forgivenesses over there. They had like this some GPS whatever, I don't know. Like they had their own terminology. They had their own meaning of the word. It's not like that thing that would send you into like directions or anything, but they had like their own thing with that. They had like all this crap. I mean, you know, they had so many other damn things that would send you in a wild goose chase and shit like that. Um, but yeah, like ever since I came, to Florida with um, to that school and stuff like that, it was the only school that should ever say that I was being unprofessional. You know, the only school ever, the only the only place ever to say something like that. And a lot of places I've been to, they say different. I'm nice, I'm friendly, and all this crap, but like if someone's gonna accuse me of shit or something, or like I would defend myself. So what is like so unprofessional about that, right? What is so unprofessional about defending yourself and your own right and stuff like that to to speak and you know whatever I think you guys get the gist of what I'm saying, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like I just couldn't like deal with any of that crap, and I was anytime when I saw him, like that teacher, um anytime yeah, so anytime when I saw him, um I don't know, I get so thinged and whatever it is. I mean, I did pass the class, but I passed it with a low grade, and at that time of the final, at the final, um I was like, I didn't even bother doing the damn work anyways. I was like, screw this shit. Like sick and tired of like being treated like this shit and whatever. Because I mean, yeah, they at the lab they wanted to, lab instructors wanted to see what I'm doing, if I'm thing and whatever. So I'm just basically like doing whatever work that there is. But when it comes to that damn final and all that crap, like I was like, man, screw this shit, you know. So I didn't really care for it, but it was whatever.
This underground cave may allow us to pass beneath the crown of thorns and gain
It
access to the
was
palace.
like whatever, you
I will
know.
believe it when I see it,
I,
Chimera. Now
so
lead on.
yeah, man. Um, yeah, it was good. The thing is, like, it was good. It's just that it wasn't like what I thought it would be. You know, um, I mean, it was a good experience and stuff, and it's something like I could like maybe like help tell all these other guys all this shit, but yeah, I never thought um that I'd get like so screwed over in my about what my what my dream, my passion, my goal was or anything like that. Because I don't even know who the hell would go to a damn school given that type of opportunity to do those things and to go right ahead and plagiarize and to do that stupidness and whatever. I don't know, but that to me that sounds so stupid. That's just like wasting your damn time, you know, with learning and stuff. And I was like, man, I didn't even come to this school for any of that shit, you know. And I don't go to any school like that for any of that kind of crap. You know, I might as I'm a grown up. I might as well act like one, be like one, and that's it. Not this childish bullshit or whatever. The hell is going on? Yeah. So yeah, for me, I'm like, I might as well. Okay. I might as well like do this thing, and I don't know. I'm gonna like start back. I'm planning on it. I'm planning on starting back. But I don't like. I'm not really sure as to. I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna go to like another school or anything like that because my focus was mainly on more like character design because I've always had like that thing for like doing characters um and everything. But um so far I've talked to a bunch of like graduates uh from the game art thing, and like I've been to the graduation a couple times actually, and it was good. um but yeah, like yeah, it's just like one of those things where I'm all saying that I'm just gonna, if anything, I'll just do it on my own. I'll learn everything all over again. I'm going to get back into gear and stuff like that because I've faced like a tough time with my life already. I'm not really that proud of it, to be honest. Um, and it's like I'm trying to like, having the cost to like move on and trying to get past all of this and everything. That's what I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do. I mean, when it came to the whole thing with the lung cancer,
Where do you think you're going with
in,
that pitchfork?
2016 and stuff like
Don't be
that, and
foolish, King
going
Shark.
from like
Corn
that
Rat's reign of
surgery
terror
to
must
like a bone
end
fracture
by
in my
any
foot
means
to another
necessary.
surgery,
No offense, but your
so
king
close
is
to
scared of the man
Christmas
that
and
killed
stuff like
Artis
that, the
sitting
week
on the
around
throne,
Christmas and stuff like that,
while you and
yeah.
Orby here hide in the trenches.
I don't know.
Enough, you sea-cursed
But
sociopath.
when I
It
was
is
in that
my
school and I talked to a
birthright
bunch of
to
graduates
rule
and
the
where I'm
people
at,
of
like I was
Atlantis.
at
The people of the Night don't
um
want
this
you.
sort of thing
They
with the
want someone
school.
like Valentine.
Like
Why don't you
they
want
were
in and
telling me I
take
wasn't
him
missing
that
anything.
trident
This
and
is
bring
what
him down
what I have to
Rathalos?
know,
It's
right?
time Atlantis apprentice had a true king of the
and yeah,
King Shock.
but he but it was like, okay, so I went, so after I passed his class, after I passed the compositing class and stuff like that, you know, it was kind of like something that was hard to forget, and you know, sometimes I try to like get past it, but sometimes my mind wanders about those days when I was over there that took a toll on me and stuff. So it's kind of hard to like kind of get past, for someone like myself to get past something like that. But yeah, like I wasn't missing anything, not at all. Um, so yeah, it's just there was a lot of things that happened with that school, and like I'm a guy who usually like takes chances, but I mean I have one more shot, one more chance to prove myself with that school, anyways, and I can't really take a chance with a school like that. No, I can't do that. You know, I might as well walk away, and you know, but being screwed over was not my sort of thing, anyways. It really wasn't, and yeah, but I did show like impressive. Oh damn it! I did show like impressive work. That's something I was good at. The students, oh my god, like these people and stuff. It was like a lot of awkward shit with the students and everything like that. One thing after the next. Um, one thing after the next, man. Like you had students who went to the classes and the lab who had like these drinks and stuff like that. They always kept buying these drinks, these food and drinks and stuff like that, and leaving it out in the front of the you can't bring those things inside the room, so they left it like right outside the room, and every time the lab instructor, the instructors themselves, like they all got really annoyed with that shit. And I gotta tell you one thing, I never once did anything like that. I didn't even see the point in anything like that. And that's what like literally got to me. They're like leaving like chips or leaving like bottles of drinks and stuff like that, or cans and stuff like that. And they were all like, okay, well, this is not cool. And whoever's doing that must stop. But these guys didn't care; they kept doing it. These students, these students try like screwing up other students, and with their work and stuff. Uh, man, and they had these students like got into arguments with each other, and the ones that was screwing up those students, that like didn't really seem much to care. They were like, like if you want to complain, go ahead and complain, but I don't give a damn, or some shit like that. Some of those students that was in that school already had the experience and whatever. They already know where that how to use things, get whatever info. They already knew all that stuff. Okay, and when another student was able to figure that stuff out, right? They didn't want to they didn't want to they didn't want you saying anything about that. They did not, and it was kind of like they would threaten you or some shit. Um, yeah, it was shit like that, man, and it was stuff like like nobody needed. It was like some dramatic shit. you know, which was unbelievable, man. You know, I yeah, it was like really unbelievable. You know, about what students would do in order, you know, and everything. And I was all like, man, I didn't even say anything to anybody. I didn't say anything to these guys or whatever. Nothing like that. Um, you know, I wasn't doing nothing like that or whatever. But my God, man, you know, this thing, like, yeah. And then this thing is, I don't know, it was just so stupid. And then, like, here's another thing though. Um, they started to like lab instructors. Oh my God! Now there were lab instructors over at that school, like that literally hit on the girls and stuff, the female students in that damn school. You know, they were like, okay, when you come in, right? They explain all this shit, saying this thing, what you gotta do, whatever. You know, like, and they're like, okay, if you need us or whatever, you know, you come to us. We you know, we don't come to you, right? So, but like when these guys were like done talking and whatever, when these you know when these guys were like done talking and stuff like that, they literally went right at the girls, you know, where the girls, I don't know, and they were like literally doing their work for them, and I was all like, yo, what the hell? I'm seeing this. I'm like, man, these guys are making it so fucking easy for the damn girls. What the hell? If they're gonna be like thinking like whatever, what the fuck is the point in them like even coming, you know, going to a school like that? Anyways, you know. And I don't know, man. It was like another shit was like a girl, you know, a couple girls like came to that class like 15 minutes late and they were like so it's like sad. They were like saying how sorry they were. They were like, you know, I don't know what the hell they were doing, but they were so bribing and oh, I don't know, some sort of like a bribe shit going on or whatever that they, you know, I don't know what the hell was going on. But I caught this stuff and my friends also like saw this and you know we started talking about this crap and they were all like you know bring like I don't know these girls were like bringing their chest out squeezing that area you know the breast area and you know and whatever making it even more bigger and all that crap and whatever. Oh my God, man. Yeah. And then they got out, I don't know, they got out of it, right? And then you, as a guy, are like thinking that, you know, that's not fair. I can't do that. You know? It was so stupid, man. They got out of being 2 hours late, you know, 2 hours out and shit like that, man. Or whatever, you know, and I was like, oh my God, dude, this is not even cool. Yeah, man. Like I was all like, man, this is not even cool at all. And I was seeing a lot of shit, man. A lot of shit like that. A lot of that shit. And mm-mm. No, and like I did mention earlier, like you know how student like this one student like literally screwed me over. I mean, every single time this one student, like in that class, in that compositing class, he always looked like the dude was like high or some shit like that. His eyes always red. Like he always looked like he was like stoned or some shit. I don't even know what that was. I don't even know what the hell that was about. But man, yo,
That seeker's predator is in
that
a
was not
blood
even right.
frenzy. Run!
And none of that was. So like I seen a lot of it. I seen a lot of shit like that. And that was basically like the only school that's ever done, like to my knowledge, that's ever done something like that. I don't know if it was like any other school, but like yeah. Um, so like I mean, I even had trouble with the faculty members over there, saying stuff like whatever. So I don't know. I'm not even sure what the hell I was doing wrong, but I wasn't really getting any sleep. Barely was. I don't consider like having at least 2 days. Beginning of the month and the end of the month. Uh, I don't consider that as sleep at all. Um, considering you have all those weeks and stuff, uh, you know, considering you have all those weeks of not going to sleep. So yeah, and then your body was taking so much, anyways. And then like for me, I had like a bunch of car problems and whatever. So I mean, like usually in that school, it was always like you had to email people. Um, you had to email the faculty members like all the time or whatever because they don't know what you're doing, like they don't know what you're going through, whatever, unless you explain the situation to them and whatever, right? So like, yeah, I kind of find like some of those things a little pointless. Um, yeah, I I just I was all like, man, this thing like when it came to tutoring again, um, only like there's only like one person that actually like helps me out, right? He now the thing is when I asked him for like tutoring and stuff like that, he did not
Stop this,
oh,
shark.
cool.
Can't you see we're not like
Um
Cormrat or the Elder Council? My husband was a hero, a man of action who protected not just Atlantis, but the entire
uh
world. If we take
so
the throne from
yeah,
Wrath, I swear on Arthur's soul,
I
the next king will
anyways,
follow in my
what was I
husband's
saying?
footsteps.
Mary is right.
Oh yeah.
My brother had good intentions,
About me
despite his
about this whole
impetulant
thing with
need to
tutoring
belong.
and stuff.
For a couple
Um
of highborn, you
yeah,
two
so
know how
they
to
couldn't
throw
like
down.
deliver on that
I
type of
swear,
shit.
as king of the ninth
But
tribe, I'll aid you in
one
removing Wrath from the
teacher
throne,
who
no
knew
matter
like
the
the
cost.
ZBrush program
Help
really good.
Poseidon help me.
He took the time and effort and everything like that. Uh, don't to show me the rules about how to use the program. Now he wasn't like my teacher or anything like that, but I so as hell wish that he was my instructor for that class. And I'm like, you know, I couldn't believe the I couldn't even believe the like what he did for me. So I don't blame him on anything. I don't blame like the teachers that I had earlier or anything like that. I don't do like I like what they did for me and stuff. I like what they taught me. So I don't blame them at anything. I kind of blame the ones that like at the end. And I don't know. I feel like I blame myself a little bit because of because what I can do and what I can't and stuff. And one of the things is I feel like I could have handled it, but it was like stuff
like, okay, so I asked for tutoring and stuff, right? Um, you know, so so I asked for tutoring like countless of times, and then there was this one time that I was at the movie theater, and I came back to the condo, and then and the thing is like this thing in my car, right? Um, in my car, it was I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about it, but like you know the thing that you know the fan by the grill that helps keep the car cool and stuff. One of them wasn't working. Okay, so I had to call on my mechanic on that shit. So I couldn't like. So I mean, we were like, I was like kind of like scheduled to come in only if like they got me a tutor and stuff like that. So I was just like, like waiting for like an
crystal
email
counterpart
from
was
them or
charged with
some
the
shit like
same magic
that.
as the crown.
Um,
Of course, we can use
and
the
all that crap. Because
trident
I
to
talked to
empower
like
the
this faculty
crystal and topple the
member, like I don't
crown.
know, like
No,
they
the
call this
crystal
like
lacks the power to take
person
down the
the
crown, but it can create
like that
thorn
she looks like
constructs.
Michelle
If I'm right,
Obama,
the constructs may get us
right?
past the crown. I will use my aquamancy to split the crystal. Once it is in position, begin gathering the roots.
So
Quickly,
yeah,
defend
we
yourselves.
so I just wait like I was just waiting on them while my mechanic was trying to fix the car and stuff, you know, and like I had to like drive slowly, like real slowly to go to the condo and to go to the and to go to like where my mechanic works and stuff, like which was like I don't know, like maybe like 5-10 miles away and everything. So and I was on my phone, as my mechanic was fixing my car. I got the part and stuff. Um, yeah, it was like really, really scary and stuff like that. And you know that I faced something like that with my car because like it's supposed to be in the middle between hot and cool, right? At a good temperature. And that was it, right? So um and anyways, like for me, um like I got into contact with these persons because I didn't like get any emails or anything. I just didn't. So I'm just wondering like, okay, well, what's up, right? And so yeah, I was just wondering like, okay, well, what's up? What's going on? Did you guys get me a tutor and stuff like that? No, they didn't. No, we didn't get you a tutor. Uh, but where are you? You're supposed to come in. I was like, no. What we agreed on was was for was for you to get a tutor for me, and for him and that person to get into contact with me and stuff like that. You guys promised to get me a tutor. Um, like, and the thing is, like, they were telling me, like, okay, well, CT, you're being really unprofessional. And I'm like, how am I being unprofessional? I mean, I know what we talked about. I know what we agreed on
and stuff like that. And if you get the tutor and whatever, I assume that that tutor again the contact with me that because you should like be the one to give them like my info and stuff like that in order for me to come in and stuff like that because we already talked about this sort of thing. And like if I were to come in and you didn't get me a tutor, you'd be wasting, our time and stuff like that. And the thing is, not only that, but I'm getting my car fixed and everything, and that's it. You know, I'm just getting my car fixed and stuff like that because the fan by the grill is not even working, and I mean, this shit needs to be fixed. So, like the thing is, this lady, man, oh my gosh, she didn't even care for that. She didn't even care for that. I'm like, I just drive to the damn school, right? And I need my damn car. I can't have the damn problem and with that shit. No, I can't do that, you know? So, I mean, like, it was a lot of shit, man. One thing after the next, whatever, and it was so stupid. It was the most stupidest thing, man, And I dealt with like what 2 to 3 years of that shit and whatever. And I'm like, no, this is not how things were supposed to be. It's not how it's supposed to pan out. Whatever. And I know a thing or two about being professional and all this crap. And if somebody were to say something like, "Oh, I'm not being professional" and shit like that because I'm defending myself and all this crap and whatever it is, and then that's on you. I mean, you know what? You don't know jack shit. Okay? And yeah, I mean, Florida was like, over there in Florida was so much like that shit. You know, I don't even know where they get some shit like that. So that sort of thing like really got to me, really pissed me off. Um,
Quickly, we have been discovered. Defend yourselves.
so yeah, man. uh,
Don't delay. We can't hold back blast guards forever.
so I mean, I faced like one hell of a ridiculous ass time. Yeah, and then like I don't know, like I haven't gone. I know I moved and stuff. I didn't go back to that school. Um, and I know that I don't know for some reason like my mind was going through that school and about the
We
last
must clear a
like
path
one of the
for
last class I took,
constructs to reach the ground.
right? Um, yeah, so it was like one of the last like it was like about this instructor, this level design instructor that I had, and I mean he seemed like a really cool guy, but he made a lot of shit like so goddamn difficult, man. He made shit like so difficult, and yeah, so like I don't know, he went into like I don't know like so on Facebook, I started to see something like news about this level design teacher that he got arrested and stuff. So I was surprised by that, right?
So
Excellent.
he went.
The construct has
So he
opened a
went
portal
to
through the
a
ground. Quickly, lead the way.
So what happened was that he went to like a Target store somewhere close by where he lives or some shit, right? And and then the next thing you know, he started to get arrested. He got arrested for um taking pictures on like under a lady's skirt, and they had like the cameras and stuff like that, you know. So we recorded like everything. What happened was that he left. Like he just like the lady like confronted him because she didn't like see it. It was like a few flashes and stuff like that. And she noticed that thing like right after, right? Like there was something flashing right under her skirt and whatever. He saw what it was. He saw like the teacher and stuff, and she started to yeah. So she started to like confront him about it. Like, well, okay, well, what the hell are you doing? Well, and then everything like that. So she was. I think like I don't know. I think she was like arguing with him or something, but then like started to like he started to like go right ahead and shove her on the what was it like the shelves and stuff like that that had the products and stuff, whatever it was, like yeah. So she and damn it. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So she started to thing and yeah, it was like really like really surprising.
Quickly, we have been discovered. Defend yourselves.
So, well, after he shoved her, onto the shelves and stuff like that, that's where he started to jet. He started to run, right out of the store. And the thing is, like, some people saw it and everything like that. And then there was this guy. I didn't. There was nothing about knowing, like, nothing with this guy or anything like that. But he saw the vehicle that the teacher like got into, and and then like he snapped a photo of the vehicle, of the license plate and stuff like that, and which was a really smart thing though, and like he started to drive home and whatever, and the thing is like this neighbor, his neighbor, like didn't even know anything, and it's called like you think you know somebody and whatever, and the thing is like he could joke around with this stuff, like he could like joke around with stuff like sexual stuff, making crap, things like that, if he wanted to, right? And but you think like he was just making like small talk, and basically he had his own thing. I don't know if he was on a dare or what. I don't even know, but but yeah, when I saw this dude like he went in jail and shit like that, I was like, holy shit. And then I wanted to like do some research on it, and I was like, I couldn't stop. I don't know, for some reason I just couldn't stop laughing or whatever, you know. And it's not like you talk to like any of the teachers that know him and whatever, and like they don't want to get into a conversation with them with that shit. And then like this, yeah. So his neighbor and stuff like that, like had like these kids, and he had like a small, like they had like a daughter and stuff and everything, and
when she was saying all these things, like, he seemed like, well, like such a nice person, like a nice guy, he was like a good neighbor and stuff like that. But that one was bad when when she heard the news and what happened, and like cops came by. She saw that whole thing right there, like, and they arrested him and all that crap. And yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it was a lot of shit right there. I think that happened like about a year or two, like after I left the school and all that. Yeah. So I don't know what he's doing, what that teacher is doing right now. But one of my friends who graduated from the school and got the job, got the job at one of the game industries. Um, he was like really awesome at his like level design, you know, and I always when I saw it, I always complimented him. This is something like that he worked on really hard on, you know, he worked really hard on that shit. And what happened was that like he was like disappointed and shit like that. He didn't want to get into. He also didn't want to get into a conversation with anybody about it. Stating, whatever. He didn't want to deal with any of that. So I was all like, you know what, that's cool. But I talked to my other friends about it. They know, like they didn't even know, but they started to laugh like hell, man. Because like they didn't really like a good amount of them, the friends that I made, they didn't like how the school was going and whatever it is. And sometimes even if you did graduate or not, um, the thing is like you're not gonna get the job. So like like working in the game industry or the movie industry or whatever, or doing compositing or whatever, you're not gonna get any of that. You know, um, and it's all like it's all like what is it? Uh, that you'd be working at a like McDonald's or a Walmart or like or a Home Depot or something like that. You're gonna be, yeah. I mean, it's good to have a job, but it's not like what you trained for, which is a shame. And like the thing is, when it comes to that school, they claim about how many students actually graduated from there and all this crap, and you're not seeing that because you're not seeing like such a big seating or anything in the graduation building and stuff like that. You're not really seeing that, and which is a damn shame too. So for me, I'm all like, you know what, it's whatever. But yeah, so there's a lot of shit, to share, to talk about, the ridiculous shit that was going on and whatever. And up to this point, I really don't care if I really don't care if I'm exposing this sort of shit, to anybody or whatever it is, because it is a good school. It's nice and everything, but it's not what it seems to be,
And for what? To
and
serve
whatever.
a
And
mad tyrant?
so I don't really know about a school that you go to, that you're representing, that that you would that they want to like kill kill
bodies at
those
the feet of
things
King
about you.
Koram-Rat.
You know, like your hope, your goal, your dream,
King's
your passion
Guard!
and all that.
On
I
my
don't
order!
even know. But
Attack!
when it comes to something like that, I'm totally against it. Yeah. So yeah, like it, it's just these things happen and everything, and you don't know what the hell could happen and whatever. But I'm like, in all honesty, I'm totally against schools that are like that, that would do that to screw you, over with shit like that. I'm really against it. But yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna get going right now. All right, later.